Hello and welcome to Perspectives. Interesting day with Mr. Pervez Musharraf's news and stories. World moves on, people move on, but some people sort of have trouble moving on. Pakistanis are a nation moving on very quickly, especially the young Pakistani is moving on very quickly. There are new opinions, new ideologies, new concepts, new desires and new demands. But politics, is that moving on or not? Is new politics stuck into old politics? Are new slogans just a repeat of old slogans? Are new promises just a repeat of old promises? Are we catering to the new generation of Pakistan? Election 2013. How are the people of Pakistan seeing it? That's what I'd like to address today. My guests, because we're short in time and there's a lot to be talked about, on my extreme right, a journalist and a commentator, and of course the pride and joy of Pakistan's Twitter, Mr. Mohsin Saeed. Mohsin, thank you very much for being here. With him, we have Mr. Munawar Mirza, who is a senior journalist and currently the head of department of mass media at Bahari University. Mr. Thank you very much for being here. On my left, I have again probably one of the most powerful and influential bloggers and probably the most influential Twitter account of Pakistan, Dr. Awab Alvi. Thank you very much for being here. And with him we have Mr. Iqbal Jamil, who is the head of Department of Mass Communication and Media Sciences at Greenwich University. So thank you very much for being here. On telephone from Lahore, we have Ms. Meher Tara, who is also a journalist, a commentator, an analyst, and again, very influential on Twitter. We also have from London, Ms. Sobia Zia, who's a banker, a Pakistani living in the United Kingdom, and again, a very strong voice on Twitter. I'd like to welcome both of you. Thank you for joining us. Mohsin, I'm going to start with you. Don't raise your eyebrows. The reason I want to start with you is because you are very vocal in your, may I say, discontent with the way things are being handled in 2013 elections. How do you see what's being offered by the political parties, and how do you see how the people of Pakistan are receiving it? But before you answer, I'd like to make one comment. Awab does have an association and affiliation, official affiliation with Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, though he's been invited here in his personal capacity. Whether his comments represent PTI or not, I would leave that to his comment. Mohsin, please.
Before I start off, I would like to give a disclaimer that I'll be showing a lot of teeth to Awab, just because of PTI, because he's a dentist and I want him to treat me. To answer your question, yes, a lot of new things are happening, and yes, credit goes to PTI to bring in a lot of new blood. I'm not saying about the candidates or the party, but they have created a lot of new voters. And then on the scene of candidacy, we've seen new faces which are very good, like Bindya Rana, which is a revolutionary thing. Bindya Rana is a transgender and she's contesting elections from PS 1112, I think. And then there's Muhammad Jabran Nasir, who's an independent 26-year-old lawyer, self-financed. And he's contesting from NA 250 and 113, PS 113. Similarly, Viru Kohli, so-called, I hate this word, minority and scheduled caste, but for the lack of a better expression and a more respectful expression, she's contesting. And there's a woman from FATA. So these things we never saw before. They are coming. That is one thing which is very good about 2000. These elections are very, very interesting. Baloch nationalists are coming back. Well, Mr. Musharraf was in the run, now he's been, disqualified. But if we go back, and PTI, of course, PTI has decided to contest elections this time. Very good. It's a part of political process.
But is the offer, you've listed a few things, names of people who are being given a chance. Fantastic. New blood, great. Yes. But I've been tweeting about that as well. Just having new people means nothing. We need capable people.
I'm coming to that. We need capable people, and PTI's capabilities will be tested once they're there. We cannot comment on that, frankly. As far as old parties are concerned, and one thing about PTI is that I see old faces, which is a bit disappointing, because people like Faisal Qureshi and Jahangir Tareen, they're old hats.
Sure.
And we are disillusioned in them. As far as old parties go, they're not offering anything new. And they're not offering the biggest problem we have at the moment is not education, it's extremism, which is killing us.
And which actually no party is addressing.
No party is addressing extremism per se.
Terrorism, yes.
Extremism.
Well, terrorism is a byproduct of extremism.
Mohsen, I would like to interrupt you and say here, education, how would you say, if education comes, extremism can be controlled.
So,
and as far as you're talking about that, you said okay, the election scenario is better. I don't think so. Parties are not been able to communicate.
That's what I'm saying. No,
they're not been able to communicate. Or they not communicate.
They are not able to communicate due to law and order situation.
Hats off to ANP.
Entire Balochistan is under turmoil. Karachi, all major political parties have not yet organized a public meeting. Only Punjab is the battleground where there has been few public meetings.
Sure.
But what happened in
but who's to blame for that?
Pakhtunkhwa?
But who is to blame for that?
It's the situation.
But who's to blame for the situation?
It's a long history. If you go and open it, it will be a Pandora box.
I understand.
If you're going to open that, you people of Pakistan know that if you can't fight an election without people and people contact. This election, as you said, this election has been fought in media. See the number of advertisements coming on electronic media like that.
I fully respect what you're saying, but my point is, the very people, and I have great sympathy with people who are suffering, losing lives. May God protect everyone, and I hope this does not happen. But with that said, if I've been in power for 50 years and I have a miserable situation today, I've really created the situation personally. So what would you say?
What I would like to add is that the real problem of Pakistan is not terrorism only. The real problem is the economic problem. You see, Pakistan has been downsliding in economy for the last 30 years.
Right.
While around us, if you look, all the countries, they have been coming up and up. Just see the example of China.
Sure.
Just see the example of India. And a bit further, if you go in the Southeast Asian region, all of them are developed countries now. Only Pakistan is a small island which has not developed. It is an underdeveloped country. And the real problem with Pakistan, even this terrorism, this is one of the offshoots of economic downside of Pakistan. You see,
but
the political party.
There's a flip side. Economic situation is because of the...
Of course. But you see...
Which came first?
Now if you go a bit back, after the breaking of Pakistan in 1972, when we came here and the Pakistan People's Party took over the reins of Pakistan, you see, we had just gone through a war.
Sure.
We were almost at the stage of collapse.
All right.
But what happened? We again entered into Afghanistan. Then we again went against Russia. Then we continuously. These are the reasons for our downside.
But sir, the past is a reality. No one denies the past. That has all happened. But young people who are 18, 19, 20, 25, 30 years old, they don't care. Meher on the phone with me, or Sobia living in UK, Pakistani, or even Awab, he's a young man, they don't care. They have to pick up the pieces and move on. It's great to study history. I respect that completely. But do you really care, Awab? And how do you want to go forward? And I would like you to comment on Mohsen's statement that extremism, not terrorism, correct?
Yes.
Extremism is a frontline problem.
Extremism, for starters, starts from uneducation, because they are not aware of the broader picture. That, I believe, can be handled if you are educate and make people sit down and do that. I want to just comment on Mohsen's one issue. I think people of Pakistan, not only the candidates, but the youth and the young people are more ready to take part in the parliamentary process than ever before. I mean, we've had last election, we had about 35-36% voter turnout. I'm expecting a larger chunk to come out. That is the democratic process. It is not the candidates that you put up there. It is who you take to the polls and who you vote for. As far as PTI, I think...
But who you vote for is the candidates
of course,
in position.
That's just not the democratic process, Awab. Democratic process involves engagement. You just don't go every 5 years to poll and come out and say, vote in, vote out. We have constant engagement
last 2
with
years,
society.
Let's take Awab something like
last 2 years, we've actually, for example, on Twitter, we've actually had a political discourse on multiple issues. I agree. I'm just giving you an example. Like, I'm giving an example with the youth that has been discussing these issues online as well as offline. Pardon?
Still.
But hang on. Let me take Awab something like go to the ladies and I'll come back, please.
What I was saying is just the engagement that has increased in the last 2 years because of whatever economic situations have happening, the downfall of the Pakistani economic that has happened. It has risen up the youth who wants to take ownership of this parliamentary process, and that is what's going to deliver. The candidates that you're talking about, yes, they will have to engage. If PTI has new candidates, it is bringing new faces to the front and giving them an opportunity to prove themselves. It is not the fact, he's not been tried, but if you don't try him once, the guy, you have to give him a chance, and he, most likely with the open media that we have now, people are going to be kept in line, more likely so as compared to in the past where the media was blackballed or hidden away. So I think the media will keep a check on these new candidates to come off in the parliament.
Okay. Sobia, you live in the UK. I want you to comment. Are you satisfied with what Awab is saying about knee people? And I would again like you to comment on what Mohsin said, that extremism is really the foremost and frontline problem of Pakistan. And I want you to just take note of the difference which Mohsin highlighted between extremism and terrorism. His perspective is terrorism is really just a byproduct of extremism. And in case we had any technical issues, I'd like to just repeat. Other comments here from my guests were that extremism is really a byproduct of lack of education. How would you comment, Sobia?
Thanks, Faisal. I'd like to start with the first comment that Mr. Awab made in reference to parties offering something new and new candidates. I totally disagree with this view. And just to state that I think in Pakistan, this is the first time a democratic government is going to be replaced through the ballot, through a democratic process. I don't want to sound patronizing, but I think that in Pakistan, like the nouveau riche, we have a nouveau democracy. We don't, people are saying that, we need a new system. No, you don't need a new system. We have old problems. We don't have new problems. We're not running a company. We need solutions to the old problems that we've had since 1947. We've never moved in further in our democratic process. Then I heard this whole thing about, we've got this third party. We don't want the two old parties. Well, hold on. In all of the world, all over the place, there are two democratic main parties. Anywhere in the old traditional democracies, there isn't a right or wrong democracy. There are always two parties, and they evolve, they improve. Third parties, peripheral parties do come along, and I have to give it to PTI. I commend them for almost bringing a consciousness to everybody else. But it's a third party. So what? I hope that they have something to offer as well. But you can't just disregard the two old parties just because, there's just something, this new thing. So I think this nouveau democracy process in Pakistan really needs to be understood, and people really need to anchor themselves to understand that, hey, we have the same problems. We need solutions. We've never been allowed to implement these solutions because we've always had dictators in place. Number two, these new candidates, old candidates, I had some major issues when I heard that PTI had this motto that we're going to give the youth tickets. Hold on. When we employ youth in our corporations, when I employ a youth in my bank, he is totally unskilled, has a lot of knowledge, a lot of, enthusiasm, has no skills. I'm giving my little department to run. They're going to give a country to run to new youth candidates? That's horrifying. So, I have really some issues with some of these things that are being sold to our voters, I would say. And I totally agree. Democracy is the process where you have more people who are actually able to vote for the leaders. And who do we need? Look, as leaders, we need politicians. We need people who understand our system and who are going to make changes. We're facing economy crisis, tax reforms, an energy crisis, militancy and extremism, poverty. There's a whole dearth of issues. So I really don't agree with that, and I just think we need to re-anchor ourselves to understand what's going on.
Okay.
The point you raised,
before Awab comments, so I would like you to comment on that, because Sophia feels that new people is not the solution. We need seasoned people.
First of all, I would like to say,
please,
that again, this is an illusion in Pakistan that the youth are about to bring some very great change in Pakistan. Actually, what has happened is that we have been observing that Arab Spring process, and now somehow or the other, we have got into this illusion. Moreover, with all respect, I would say that politicians in Pakistan have taken it as a fashion that they take up a certain kind of slogan, and they try to make a fool of the people. As I had got in the time of Mr. Bhutto, he used to exploit the poor people, and there had all that about roti, kapra and makan, which has not yet been delivered, even after 3 successive regimes of People's Party. Again, this time, we have taken over this slogan of the youth. If you just analyze, are the youth of Pakistan prepared to bring this revolution? I have been in the universities for the last 5 years before, and I have seen that all the youth, they are absolutely not prepared. These political parties, they have been playing with them. You just look into the universities. The youth have not been even able to govern their own universities. The Rangers are there in the Karachi University. Again, in what is happening in Punjab University, what is happening, the second sector.
But interject here, because the Rangers are there because some political parties have exploited students.
Yes.
But that's not to blame, that's not their
I'm not blaming them.
That's all parties.
Can I make a
just let me the second part of the youth are coming from the madrasas.
Sure.
Again, they are totally another divergent sector of this. Both of them are not prepared for any kind of change they are going to bring. This is a sort of thing which the political parties are continuously playing, and they are trying to befool the people that these people, the thing is, actually the young people have got no choices. They have, these are the political parties, they have to vote these political parties, and they have to bring them again in power. If they may be this party or they may be that party.
Just one moment. Do we have Meher online? Or can we, because, okay, but she's on Twitter saying that she's available. So if you could just connect to her. Sir, your comment, then I'd like to go up to,
Your youth is not been trained. The political parties in the past has not given any opportunity. People in PTI are claiming, with due respect to that we have mobilized the youth. But I would like to say only one thing. Battles of elections are not won through tutors. It's the rural population. How many internet are there in the rural areas? But the people, you think, and we have the perception that Karachi, Islamabad, Faisalabad and Lahore, where the election will only take place. What about Panjgur? What about Sawati? So how you are claiming that you must have got support, but tutors, you had to deliver the program. So far, as far as with due respect to my dear friend, PTI has been unable to mobilize the people in the rural areas. Okay. I'm very sorry to say that.
Right. Can I just now?
Yeah. Would you like to add? Then I would like to give complete time to Awab for detailed answer.
I hate that.
Well, then hold your peace, Awab, please. Undisturbed.
My simple suggestion, just as you are going out and blaming the youth that youth can't perform, I flatly say the adults have not performed for us. For the past 60 years, these adults that have been ruling over this country have given us nothing except depression and depression after another.
That's being ungrateful.
But we are at this position. We are at this position because of these adults that have taken us to this school of. Good enough. I'm at
hold your
position.
peace, Mohsen.
Yeah, and simple as the frustration you have saying that these youths will not perform, have you ever tried them? Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is coming up with 37% of their candidates being less than 40 years of age. Give youth a chance to actually come out and show. I give an example of myself. From 2007 to 2012, I have been doing flood relief and earthquake and disaster relief. I have done that myself. I've gone out and performed, taken millions of rupees and actually given out to the poor of the people. When I was doing that, there was not a single politician that exists now that was there on the street except mobilizing and taking advantage of people and looting the funds that was coming from the international community. So I flatly say the adults that have been doing it, I could be guarded, but these politicians, the two parties that have done, they have been given 26 to 27 years in this last democratic process for what has happened, and they have not performed.
May I interject? As Sobia commented very rightly, the last 5 years, I think, and you know what, you know very well, I'm not just saying it, I've been the hugest critic of the government, but now in hindsight, I think the last 5 years, I think these are going to agree with me, was the first time that the beast of democracy actually rode a full cycle.
Yeah. Fair enough. So you don't have those so-called democratic shaheed. You don't have
No. But it's the first time.
Faisal,
Please.
Today is here at this juncture, historic juncture, that a democratic government is going to be replaced by a democratic. It didn't happen overnight. People have forgotten MRD. Revolution came then in 1982. People gave their lives. We don't know the name.
Sure.
That's what my grouse against these youth. They don't know history. Knowing history is very important. Okay? Yes, moving on is important. But if you don't know history, you can't move on.
We have no history, but we can't just live in it.
No. We are not living in history. But saying that adults haven't done anything, today if we have democracy, it's because of those adults.
Why?
If we have women's rights in this country, it's because of Rani Khabar Mumtaz, Najma Sadeh.
You being the nuclear power. It's the old politician.
Najma Sadeh.
Say about that.
Old guard.
I need to take a very short break.
Give me time.
I will give you time, but I need to take a very short break.
Before that, I would like to just clarify a clear point. You say PTI and you people have given money to the flood affected people.
No, he was talking about himself in his personal capacity about
you are talking about your personal capacity.
During the floods.
That's a different thing. But the PTI is not.
Will you stop?
I'm defending you.
I want to stop saying party lines.
Now, all of you need to. I'll tell you why this discussion is gone. I need to take a short break. But Mohsen, Mr. Munawar, Mr. Iqbal, and Sobia, everyone showed their disgruntled feelings about the youth of Pakistan. You talk about the rural youth. Sobia saying, I come across young people coming to banks and they are at a loss. I also feel that maybe, and you're saying in the education system, the university, they're not really in charge. Mohsen sort of feels that way.
Intellectually lazy.
Okay, fine. No. I want to take a short break. What I'm explaining to you is that is why Awab is actually taking a stand and speaking for the youth, and he needs to, but a very short break. Perspectives. I'm really short on time. There's a lot to be said, so I will not do a summary. Meher, we lost you earlier. Please, your comment.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said, please go ahead. I'm not going to because we're short on time. So please go ahead and what's your comment on? I've just briefed you what we talked about. Please go on.
Look, I do believe it has to start from a primary level. People should go one step at a time. Politics ये नहीं होता कि आप एकदम सलाम मार के किसी बहुत बड़ी सी कुर्सी पे जाके बैठ जाओ and think you're going to do wonders, जो कि आपकी older generation नहीं कर रही. But on the other hand, पाकिस्तान में हमेशा से होता क्या? You see, we have a tradition जिसमें एक 19 साल का या 18 साल का या 20 साल का लड़का अगर पाकिस्तान की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी का चेयरपर्सन बन सकता है. And that party actually gives the impression that he is involved in a lot of things as far as party policies are concerned. So ये कहना कि जो पीछे की जो youth है वो कुछ नहीं कर सकती, I don't think that's really.
Yeah, but you see, Meher, the point here is that just because you're young, you're energetic, you're overzealous, that's fine. But the thing is, are you capable? Sobia made a very, very strong point that, you come into a job, you can't just be placed as CEO, you have to go through the whole process. So injecting new parliamentarians who will actually make laws for us, I'm not too sure. I
agree. I actually agree. I believe कि पाकिस्तान के अलावा दुनिया की हर जगह पे लोग नीचे से शुरू करते हैं. For instance,
may I request you to stay in English for our international viewers, please. My apologies.
I thought I was going to talk in English.
Go on. No, we're on PTV World, so this is all English. Please go on.
No, thank you so much. No, I agree. I agree with what she said. I do believe, just because you're young, that does not mean you're going to be good in a parliament. Just for instance, you would be good in just as you would be good in, for instance, in a business house. I believe that's true. I think all this has come about because of the disillusionment people have when they look at what the older generation is doing. I don't think it has anything to do with the desire to see a lot of young people in the parliament. It's just, I think people just want to get rid of whoever is in the parliament right now.
Okay, but Mohsin made a very strong point. He said that if we just keep complaining and blaming the older generations or people who brought us so far, it'd be great thanklessness. And I think Mr. Iqbal also waiting to make a comment. Meher, what would you say to that?
Look, as far for instance, I just tweeted about Yusuf Raza Gilani. Right. I believe for a guy who has been in politics for so long, notwithstanding the education and the accusations about him, or anything and everything that's been said about him, I think it's completely and absolutely unfair to just throw him out of the system the way he has been kind of ousted out of the whole the political game. I do believe I don't have anything against all the people in the parliament. I just think everybody should get a chance. If a small number of younger people get into the assemblies and they can make a difference, working side by side with people who have already been part of the political system for a long time, maybe there is a chance something good would come out of it.
There is a chance something, okay.
With due respect to PTI, I would like to say here, it's not a new phenomena that PTI has mobilized the youth of Pakistan. It was the MQM which took the initiative. Mustafa Kamal.
Well, I think even before that, Mrs. Bukali Bhutto completely moved the whole
they had, as per the youth is concerned, the first urban party which took the lead. See, that was February 32. Mustafa Kamal, who transformed the entire Karachi. Dr. So you can't say that they are the initiators. No,
and they have worked from grassroots.
And they are the initiators. See, the entire world. Karachi is a new look.
Sure.
It's a new leadership of Mustafa Kamal, which they have given it.
Okay, Shobi, you want to make a comment?
Faisal, can I just say something, please?
Please.
Yeah, I could not really hear Meher, and I just want to go to this youth question. I think we really need to get, I understand that 75% or something in Pakistan are the youth. Mm-hmm. That's excellent. And we have this whole resource which many countries don't. They have aging populations, but let's not exploit the youth. I say I don't want to lynch PTI at the moment, but I just want to tell everybody, stop exploiting the youth. What the youth need, stop stealing their youth away. Stop raping their youth from them. What do youth need? They want good education. They need to be educated so they are not turning out into extremists. They want job opportunities. They need to live. there is to say that you're going to stick these youth who need to go through a whole process of having opportunities, living their life, skilling themselves, and then making a decision to go into our parliament later, that's absolutely fine. For PTI to exploit the youth in a way that we're going to stick them and give them a parliamentary NA ticket is actually outrageous. It should not be allowed, and I think it's just unacceptable. So I think we just really need to differentiate. We're so happy the youth are there. They need to make their voice known and heard, and they need to vote. They need to vote for leaders who know what they're doing. There's some brilliant people in Pakistan. Look at all of you. You all want good for Pakistan. We're all helping Pakistan. So we have some good politicians. They're across all parties, PML-N, all the other parties as well. So the youth should come out and voice and vote, but don't take away their youth from them.
Sobia, can Mohsin, would you like to add, or should I let Nawab answer? Set up the stage for Mohsin right away before you come to me. Okay, my apologies, please go ahead.
Have the floor.
Because he's just sitting there making those faces. I also was looking at the faces. I'd love to see the reaction. Absolutely. Go right ahead. Go ahead. Mohsin.
No,
please. I just going to... Well, Sobia has so easily shrugged aside the youth in such a way that they should be focused on educating themselves, they should be focused on raising a family, while and they should not be taking part in the democratic process. I think
she never said that.
She never said that. That's how you people make your friends.
That's what I think. Don't put them in the parliament. But if you, what are you talking about? They need to be trained.
Now, can I?
Just one statement, and it's all yours. What I'm saying, when the person, the youth that is standing, a candidate that's standing in the for an MNA or a parliamentary seat, he's actually going out and shaking hands to get votes for election. He's going through the process of going out and getting votes.
Wow.
Let me add, and I'll give it to Mohsin. Actually, personally, I'd rather see, no matter how much hatred people may have towards those old faces, I'd rather see Mr. Shah Mahmood Qureshi as my foreign minister, instead of a 24-year-old or a 28-year-old young parliamentarian who doesn't even know how to shake hands. I'd rather have Jahangir Tareen running my Ministry of Industry.
So
I'd rather have Asad Umar doing that. I don't want to see...
Apart from that, Faisal, what I'd like to say, that you earn the right. What has our youth done to earn that right, to begin with? You work with grassroots level, okay? They are, as I say, intellectually lazy and lazy, both. And
but then,
because
can I say something here?
Yeah, go ahead, Mayor.
I just want to understand something. Either reject the entire system, of, for instance, women on, what are they called, reserved seats. What right does a woman have to be elected into the assembly who has no prior role in politics? And all of a sudden she is in the parliament, she's an MNA or she's an MP, and then she becomes a minister, and then she starts to do whatever she does.
Mayor, I fully agree, but two wrongs doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
No, all I'm trying to...
You can't do one apprenticeship and wrong.
People should have some kind of basic training. What I'm saying is the whole system has to be overhauled.
You
can't say one thing goes and the other thing stays. The whole system, you see the father doesn't get a seat because he doesn't have a degree, then he pushes his son or daughter forward, and then they become parliamentarians.
Okay, all right, hang on. So I would like to comment. Just a quick comment.
Is
this really just...
And they are the ones who
are we all just caught into showmanship and we're missing the core of the problem?
Yes. I think that we are missing the core of the problem. I've already said that, as I mentioned, that actually none of the political parties are really addressing what has gone wrong with Pakistan. The real thing which has gone wrong with Pakistan is that it is failing economically. So even if we are going to have the youth in this process, whether it is the parliamentary process, whether it is the voting process, we have to train them to come into this process to raise up the downsiding.
Okay, but you realize, with respect, we all just pointing our fingers at PTI. PML-N has also just completely played up on the youth card. Laptops.
Everyone. A very good example. I appreciate that. You said that instead of Shah Mahmood Qureshi, there's 25 years of
I don't want a foreign minister.
What a mockery it was when Hina Rabbani went to India what a mockery it was.
Well, at least
she
she was
talking
all
to
about
at least she
working
was
bad.
a minister.
No, but hang on.
But
At least
even
she was
then-
well trained.
But she was
And
well
well
trained
dressed.
even then. And then again, with all due respect to PTI, I would like to say only one thing. Okay, bad people, politicians are elected to parliament with good people not voting.
But then,
Now,
but then you have to give them credit that they have mobilized the nation.
But
I think
mobilized,
Pakistan did a great job.
it will be seen on the election day how they are going to mobilize and put the youth to the polling station.
I think credit where due.
Yes.
I think people will
Yes.
come out.
Yes, this
and
time they
vote.
will. They will.
This
and they
time
will.
we are going to get a major vote.
People will come out.
devil
Now,
is
now,
you.
there is a very big question mark. You're talking about
Whether they will or not.
whether they will not, because everybody is just now smelling whether the elections are going to take place or not.
But that,
That's a separate story.
we'll see.
That
If there is an election, I
then
am
they will
quite
come out.
sure
Yeah,
that
and
the
then it
elections will
goes
come
to
out.
speak.
the percentage of vote of the last 5 elections, it's declining.
Yeah, but this year,
This year
will
go up.
and
Now
also,
it's something else.
we have to also understand the various dynamics in place. There's a brand new generation which has come to age for voting. So just the dynamics are different.
That
But
is
have you noticed?
It was 5 years ago. We had a population explosion in the past 15 years, and now they're actually
Yeah.
coming of age
Have
to
you
vote.
noticed one thing?
But-
Just as in society, we see the extremism issue.
Yeah.
We are doing this at this show as well. Extremism is really gnawing at our foundation.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with education.
No, but
I can
please,
tell you now
let
one
us
thing,
understand
because
something.
I have worked with different people from different classes, from interior Sandharis, from laborers, from
To
different
the upper class.
everyone.
And extremism is not just religious.
No, exactly. I'm coming to that. Urban middle class is highly radicalized and extremist in their thought.
And not necessarily religious.
Not necessarily religious, but religious too.
Sure.
Urban
It's just
middle
the
class.
attitude is just.
Their attitudes, violent. Intellectually, they're violent. And it has nothing to do
And
with
there's no room
education.
for there's no room for discussion.
No,
for
and no room for discussion. And secondly, I was giving you the examples of Sindhyani Tehreek women. We have worked from the platform of democracy, Citizens for Democracy, worked with laborers and fisher folk. They are far more receptive to ideas. They're open, they're secular, they're
Actually,
more...
too much education is shut our minds.
So education
They are
is
more
the
politically
problem.
conscious. They are more politically conscious.
Politically conscious.
They are more
Education
politically
is the
conscious. Remember
problem
that.
because in the last 35
rural people,
years,
I absolutely agree with you.
and
but I don't agree with that.
mutilated curriculum,
Education is not
and education is the problem.
Problem, no doubt.
It-
But most
it
of the
is a
point is
problem.
extremism stands on its own 2 feet, and it threatens us
And
directly
it's the
with or without the
education.
education.
And it
Yeah.
is the education because your urban middle class is most radical.
So how do you want to jump through that education barrier and just say you're going to teach them, bring them
Sir, I gave you 2 examples completely. Urban, educated, middle class people and youngsters as well, youth. So just try talking to them, okay? And then you go to fisher folk, go to labor unions, be labor involved.
For a
And they're
moment,
so
I agree.
receptive.
The thought process might be.
Secular,
What I'm
they're
saying,
tolerant.
don't you think the economic pressures have
No.
pressurized them to start
start-
focusing on different issues rather
And
than
to stop talking to each other and becoming
They're
violent
tolerant.
and abusive.
Abusive.
I give an example. I'm also-
I would
Meher,
can
go
I
on.
add something
Yes,
here?
Meher, please.
I agree with Mohsin. This is what I said to somebody in India a few days ago. Our middle class does have this problem, but I don't think it has everything to do with how they perceive religion. It's
Education.
Mohsin is saying it has nothing to do with religion.
They're just concerned about the morality and everything else that is attached to it. They live amongst people. Now you see the poor people, they don't care. The upper classes, they don't care either. It's the middle class which has to keep up the facade of doing the right thing and
Yes.
behaving in a
Hypocrisy.
particular manner.
Well, I'm going to throw in here, when we say upper class, even the very rich are like that. Only the social elite are the ones we can filter out who really don't care. But everybody
Exactly.
else,
I agree.
most of the
low
middle
classes
class,
do
I'm
give.
saying across the board we are very,
Across the board.
not just the middle class, across the board we are very,
That's the question.
No, but I find...
Why all this happens? What is the reason for it? Just pinpointing it, that the middle class has been radicalized. This is not an answer. Neither
education did that.
It could be
Mutilated
yes.
curriculum did that.
Poisonous
curriculum. For the last 35 years, we've been fed.
No, I would disagree with him. It is not the curriculum. Actually, it is something which has to do with our political parties and our leaders. They have been feeding various kinds of slogans in our minds. They have been cultivating certain kinds of
there was not a politics.
It has everything to do with education.
Let me just point out. Right?
Can I just make a quick point on that?
Just one second. Meher, go on.
Just a sec. I just want to say one thing. My son goes to the American school, and I have a nephew living in the same house who's 3 years younger. He goes to one of the best schools in Lahore too. But their mentalities are completely different when they talk about religion, when they talk about Syria, when they talk about the world in general. The younger kid who does not go to an international school talks the way we used to do when we were younger. India is still the enemy, Hindus are still bad, Muslims will go to hell for this, this will happen. He talks exactly the way we used to talk when we were little. Education has everything to do with what's happening in this country right now.
Not the education, but the quality and the kind of education. Sobia, go ahead. I'll take your comment. Sobia?
Yeah, I totally agree that education is the underlying factor because that's what's producing and impacting our youth. And when you say it's the government schools and it's the other schools, I think the private schools are quite excluded because, they do their own thing. The problem is that unless you update these syllabuses to modernize them, to incorporate tolerance and to remove this sort of biased history, sort of underlying teaching that we provide, we're going to have this really radicalized, polarized society. Number 2, politicians must stop using religion to buy votes. Politicians should actually be charged if they use religion to sell politics. It should be banned. Our country is going through extremism. If we don't accept we have a problem, we won't think of solutions. We don't accept we have a problem. These people are going on television. Some people are praying and saying, vote for us. That's just ridiculous. To exclude religion, state is for everybody. State is a system. It's not an individual. Individuals have religions. A state is just a body. It has no religion. It's like a company. So basically, they need to really, they really need to separate religion from politics. I think I might be saying something really radical.
No,
not at all.
Absolutely right.
So I'm running out of time. I take everyone's closing comments very quickly.
Sir, I would again add, how did this enter? Actually, this radicalism entered the universities and our colleges through the political parties. This was forced.
No,
it did not enter through the curriculum.
I second Mr.
Violence, yes.
Of course, they have made them.
2 different things.
Just let me tell you one thing. Just
very quickly.
In 1 second. Every now and then, the political parties and their students come here, they close the doors, they
but that's
stop teaching at the university. No, not violence.
Secularism is the answer. I believe PTI refused to be a secular state. It's like, I have no problem with I have no issues with Sharia. I have been a Muslim.
Absolutely.
But God Himself should come. Allah Ta'ala Khudai, or I don't trust Muslims to implement Sharia because they can't. They are biased. They are loaded, and
But you can't say. No, I will have to correct you here.
But you can't. But the answer is secular.
You can't say that. People who are misusing cannot be trusted.
So Muslims have been misusing it.
Second is the statement that poverty has led to the extremism, and if economics, in economics,
my
closing comment: the youth has to be trusted into the political system. If you do not engage with the youth in the political system and you say they're too immature to be part of the system,
not at all.
I think
no one.
have to go.
That is completely incorrect. So anybody says that, I stand with you. This is correct. Meher,
they have to
Meher, closing. Sir, I have to close. Meher, closing comments quickly.
About this religious thing, right?
Just very quickly. I have a few seconds. You have to close.
No. I'm just going to end it what my 9-year-old nephew said when I said what I said. He said, yes, I prefer my school. At least it teaches me the right thing to do.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Sobia, your closing comments very quickly. Very quick. Just a few seconds.
Faisal, my very quick summary is if we could educate our clerics and actually have a standard in Pakistan that an uneducated religious cleric is not allowed to take sermons or do anything, I think we might progress.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Unfortunately, I'm short of time and I can't really close. Until next time.